Day 8. Life is a paradox and a miracle, taking quantum leap in our evolution and creating new world reality and the multiverse. Welcome. Miracles don't just happen to you. Miracles happen through you, for you, and because of you. You are the miracle. You are the magic you've been searching for. Abundance is your birthright. Abundance is your duty. It is your divine design duty to thrive and receive the blessings. In the core of your being, all potentiality is contained. The whole success DNA is already latent within you. Your life's experience is the fertile grounds that enables your true potential to manifest, emerging as your human divine design purpose. Reality is images of your mind expressed. There is no thing outside of you. Welcome to your day 8 of the ATM, the Abundance Thriving Manifesting Program. We live in a multiverse, and it's very old esoteric teaching that now science proves as a fact in an ever-shifting expanse, ever-expanding fabric of time-space continuum. It is the paradox of existence, of us being so significant and insignificant at the same time. So we are really important in the clogs of humanity and evolution and consciousness, and probably beyond realms that we don't understand, and yet we're so insignificant in the fabric of time-space continuum. So we're not even a speck of dust in that time. So that is why we must give meaning to our existence. We search for meaning in everything. We search for meaning in words, in signs, in a look, in a dream. So we look for objects to give us meaning. So we actually give objects meaningful existence, the phenomenal occurrence. We are actually an intricate part of the multiverse. We are breathing, walking, talking element of the whole, a fragment. So it's like the hologram. The whole multiverse is actually reflected within us as individuals. And us, the whole of us is reflected as a hologram within each cell. So it's our DNA is synonymous with the DNA of existence. We are inseparable from all that is. We are a walking, talking paradox of the multi-universe, or the multiverse. The fact that the planet Earth has the right amount of chemicals to support life and evolution is a miracle. If you think about it, from infinite number of universes, we have just the right amount of oxygen and nitrogen and all the elements that make up everything that you see around you. Okay? Our consciousness is a miracle. That is if we are conscious, and that is if we keep evolving as well. We are walking, talking, breathing miracle. Your sight, your cells, everything about you is masterful, a masterful art piece, a piece of art. It's a triumph over the immeasurable, innumerous odds against our existence. So it is a miracle, and yet we take it for granted. So look up at the sky. That is a miracle in itself. Cloud formations are a miracle. The airplanes passing by, their defying gravity, it's a miracle. Yes, there is the aerodynamics law where the pressure underneath the wing is greater than the pressure above, and thus you get liftoff. But it is just phenomenal how in a short period of time we have quantum leaped into such great feats of science, and just phenomenal. And yes, it's pure science. We applied, we evolved, we understand, and we harness elements to benefit humanity or to destroy it. so due to greed. So let's talk a little bit about unity consciousness. Unity consciousness plays a lot in us creating a new world reality and basically saving humanity from self-destruct. And it's very pertinent this time with the politics and what's happening in the world. So human evolution and how we fit into this natural process and its impact on our work, life, fulfillment, and actually paradoxically at work as well. So now there's new reality for working. There's no new codes, new ethics, so everything is shifting paradigms. As we go through the different stages of evolution, and I'll go through here and I'll also give a handout, we will recognize that we're actually operating on various levels in one single day or one Earth day. Okay, so we may start the day feeling universal love to all that is, and then in a challenging boardroom encounter or a passing remark that, may propel a memory, and we will then construe it as a life-threatening scenario. So here is a day-to-day example for those of you who actually drive a car. So, we move or rev between the different states of consciousness. So it's not a fixed thing, that level of evolution. It's not a fixed thing. We can't just, we've evolved and this is where we're at. No, we'll go all over the place basically with that until we attained sufficient proficiency at actually maintaining that level of unity consciousness. So here is the example. We may be driving on a road as if we owned the road. Scenario 1, we are in a very stressed state. We're being overtaken by another driver, and we may react in anger, in fury, and may even hunt them down the road. I know that I've done that before. It's my road and how dare they overtake me. We dropped into a pre-personal state. This is the example later on is about the different levels of memes. Memes are levels of consciousness evolution. And we'll talk about that in great details later on. So where this lower level of awareness, the pre-personal state or the first few memes, actually where this is mine and not yours. This is pre-personal state, and that's where most wars stem from. Identifying with one group and excluding and even dehumanizing another. Scenario 2, we are still driving the car, the very same car, and we drive as if we own the road, and we're in a compassionate state of being. So we're being overtaken by another driver. Instead of reacting with this fury that the reptilian brain, the primitive brain kicks in, instead of that, we're actually in a more expansive state. So we may react as tolerant, in a very tolerant manner. We may even allow them to overtake us. We can justify smugly to ourselves that they may need to go to a hospital. And then I know that I end up feeling really righteous when that happens. So this is the personal stage of evolution on the spectrum. So from the pre-personal state to the personal state or stage. And, it is arrogant, but very cleverly disguised, and yet it's more humanitarian for others. Okay, in this place, this is where we go to therapy, we go to workshops, personal development workshops, we do gestalt, we do psychodrama. We are more open to others, but with conditionality. As long as they are agreeing with us, or we agree to disagree. So it's a very arrogant stance. Scenario 3, we are in an expansive state of mind. Now we don't even mind how we drive, and you need to mind how you drive, because when you're at one with all that is, you may not be aware of your speed. You might be in such a blissful state. You might be driving what seems to you very fast and normal, but exceptionally slow to other drivers. Or you might be cruising along at very high speed, blissed out of your brain, and not aware of, the speed limits and the danger to other users. So you've got to mind the mind when you're at that state. Okay, and being overtaken by other drivers is an indication. So what happens is that we may react when someone overtakes us in that state. We may react in a very over-lovingly manner. We are so blissed out, we're just smiling, beaming, we just feel in love with everything. But it does feel weird for other people. So it's a great state to be in. I love it. I'm addicted to that state. Yet it is weird for most people traversing this planet Earth. Okay? So when we're in a bliss state, we are at one with all that is. That is the unity consciousness. Okay? And that is pure love, pure acceptance. It's very hard to drive at those states because you might just, it's a little bit like being stoned by life, by existence. And so you'll be sitting there just marveling at the beauty and ingenuity of the car. So that's where self-driving cars is really great. So this is the unity consciousness. This is the other end of the spectrum, from the pre-personal, personal, to the unity consciousness, the transpersonal state. And that is pure love, oneness, all that is. Okay, that is an enlightened state of being. Of course, we can't be in that forever. Otherwise, we need to eat. We need to function on planet Earth. So we need to drop to the other states. Okay, but that is the level where our enemies become our brothers, where actually we recognize that we're one. There's inseparability. Okay, so it's a non-dual state. Now, this is how we create a simple and yet profound quantum leap in our evolution. Our process of evolution has been hindered by individual greeds and by strive to have power over others. And it may be over resources, land, diamonds, whatever it is. And that is in the first 3 levels of evolution, in the first 3 memes or tier of evolution, where individual and society spectrum of consciousness, okay, the evolution of individual and societal consciousness. And it's based on the work of Claire Graves, Don Beck, Chris Cowan, and of course Ken Wilber, the Einstein of consciousness. It's based on the spiral dynamics and the integral theory. And to illustrate, it's illustrating the process and the progress from various level of consciousness categories, which are the memes. The meme demonstrate a vast and varied state of spiritual awareness that exists within the human condition commencing the new millennium. So it shows us how it is, how it's in reality, and I'll speak about specifics. So the progression is up the spectrum. So on tier 1, there are a couple of tiers. Tier 1 comprises of 6 different levels or 6 memes, and it is the subsistence level or stages of development. These are followed by the critical milestone of the tipping point, and which is the integration process that proceeds after this. So the tipping point is the integration process that precedes the tier 1, which is the 6th level of memes. Okay, that once we've gone through the tipping point, then we are entering the tier 2 levels, of the of raised consciousness, and that is when we're building. There's 3 levels to that, and that is where we're actually building new world reality. That is where it's possible. So, comprising the 3 memes at level 2 tier, it's the triumph over letting go of our fears, our ego, and the need for material rewards. And that is where unity consciousness is. So it's for the benefit of all humanity, and that is a rare state of being. Meme level 6 is predominantly found in Europe. You would find that in the evolution. Meme level 3 is predominantly in the Middle East and Africa. So you can see, we can talk about specifics and you'll see how it actually, and you recognize yourself in some of the memes or all of them. I certainly recognize myself in all of them. And as we go through these, we may recognize ourselves and others at certain stages of evolution. We may even recognize individual and societal behavioral evolution. So here it goes. Meme level 1. Meme level 1 is a pre-personal, and the light, the color, the light spectrum of that is indicated by infrared. The cognition level that applies to human development is sensory motors. The physiology is from birth to 1 year, or actually prenatal to 1 year. Its identity is symbiotic. It doesn't have the child is symbiotic with the mother, with the environment. It has no separability or ability to recognize separability. Its worldview is non-existent as far as we are aware. Its values is survival. It's just pure survival mechanism that kicks in. It needs warmth, it needs food, it needs to poop, it needs to exist. The motivation is instinctual. The spirituality level is, as far as we know, non-existent, although in New Age twaddle in a way, they give purity to it. So they think that babies are pure form of spirituality. And the God view, it's none, because it's symbiotic. It doesn't perceive anything outside of itself at this stage. Meme level 2. We. Now the light spectrum is magenta. Magenta is like between pink and purple. And the cognition is a symbiotic relationship. That is the cognition or recognition. The physiology is from age 2 to 5 years young. The identity is ritualistic. So the rituals that we go through, like brushing our teeth or going to sleep, like that, or putting the nappies on. The worldview is tribal existence, tribal survival. The value is safety. Motivations are fears, and spirituality is magical. It's magical thinking. The child may think about something and might say a Barbie, and a Barbie appears eventually. So it's magical thinking. The worldview is animalistic. Now, of course, as adults, we might be still stuck at that magical worldview. And sometimes we drop into it. I know I do. So it's great to recognize that we evolve and devolve throughout the day. Level 3, meme level 3, is the I. The light spectrum is red, the color red. The cognition is pre-operational, and it's from the physiologies is equivalent of age 6 to 12. Of course, nowadays things are evolving differently, and of course, as you'll see later on, we might be at different stages. So just because we are age 12 doesn't mean that we have that cognition, and just because we're age 49 doesn't mean that we have that cognition or not. So we might be still in the magical thinking, and that's okay, because we evolve and we go through the whole spectrum. The identity is egocentric. The worldview is feudal. The values are of power, and motivation is pride. So that will motivate us. Pride, that will actually motivate us to do things. Okay, so pride in writing beautiful essays, or writing beautifully, or pride in succeeding something, or the opposite. You know, we will rebel against that, but still that is a pride motivation. A spirituality level is mystical or mythical. And the God view is polytheistic. Okay. MIM level 4, it's about we. And the light spectrum is orange. The cognition is operational. The physiology is 12 to 19 years of age. The identity is ethnocentric. We identify with different ethnical groups. So there might be groups that have certain kinds of tattoos. There might be Gothic groups. There might be different groups. So ethnocentric doesn't necessarily mean ethnicity. The worldview is nationalistic. The values are rules and sacrifice, so delayed gratifications as well. Motivation is reward later. Spirituality is fundamentalist. And God view is judgmental God. So if we do that, we will be approved. And if we don't do that, we won't be approved. Now, you might find yourself recognizing and identifying with an ethno group, yet rejecting the judgmental God. That still is at that MIM. MIM level 5, the I, the light spectrum is yellow, and the cognition is logical. The physiology is 20 to 39 years of age. But of course, we might still have that when we are 51. Okay? And we might actually acquire that when we are 12. Depending on our education, things are speeding up now. So this is just illustrative, but it's a great generalization. Identity is individualistic. The worldview is rational. The values are materialism. The motivation is greed. Spirituality is orthodox, traditional, and God's view is loving God. Then we progress on to level 6 MIM, which is we, the we. And the light spectrum is green. The cognition is abstract. We are able to comprehend abstract ideas like platonic love, like that. The physiology, we may be between the ages of 40 and 79 traditionally, but of course, a lot of people now with education and being opened, they can attain that much earlier. And of course, who is to say that at age 79 you have attained that level of cognition? So, it's very individualistic. The identity is world-centric. We identify with the world. And the worldview is egalitarian. The values are pluralism. The motivation that drives us is harmony. The spirituality is New Age atheist. The God's view is liberating God, a liberating God. Then we go from the 6 first levels, tier 1 MIMs. That takes us to the tipping point. And when we're at the tipping point, we're then able to do the quantum leap into tier 2, which is MIM level 7, one for all. And that's the light spectrum is indigo color. The cognition is visionary. The physiology used to be 80 till death. The identity is integrated, and the worldview is planetary. The values are the truth. The motivation is wisdom. Spirituality is co-creative. Okay, and the God's view is metaphysical. Then we move on to the MIM level 8, which is all is one. And the light spectrum is violet. The cognition is evolutionary. The physiology is out of the body. The identity is egoless. The worldview is universal. And the values are the love. Motivation is compassion. And spirituality is transfiguration or elevation. God view is mystical. Then the last level that we'll talk about is MIM level 9, which is I am. The light spectrum is white light. The cognition is transcendent. The physiology is irrelevant. You are beyond body. The identity is merged with all that is. The worldview is cosmic. The values are the light. The motivation is divinity. The spirituality is enlightenment. That is the motivation behind spirituality. And the God's view is non-dual, that unity consciousness. So that is how we evolve and we create a simple yet very profound quantum leap in our evolution. So all these teachings that I'm sharing with you are to be listened to, read, everything that I have shared with you. And if you're in my program, you get one-to-one time with me. But for all the previous recording that you've listened to, listen to it again from day one. Play that again, the first 7 days. Play that again and again for 28 days on a row. Okay, so that you do 7 days of exactly the same. And then you continue with that. You pause the recording at certain times. So if I say, create your mission statement, pause that, create it. Okay, or re-evaluate it. And then continue watching. So it's full of very condensed teachings. And there's a lot of value there, but there's a lot of information. And I look forward to hearing your remarks. I look forward to hearing from you individually what it is that you need to evolve. All these teachings are coming out of what is being requested from me by my beloved students. So thank you for whom you are. I love you. I wish you all the best, and namaste.